Sailesh Haribhakti, from the perspective of India Inc., how are you gearing up for what's to come? Last time when the government introduced what at that time was a complete lockdown, it broke the back of the Indian economy. What are you expecting this time around, and have we learned any lessons to ensure that we can mitigate to the extent possible the economic damage?
Well, I'd like to first start with a prayer for everybody who's fighting this amazing plague that has no precedence. So far as industry is concerned, we would like to make sure that people can come, work safely, make sure that they are self disciplined, they take all the precautions which are by now completely well known. Industry would be very ready and able to provide masks, provide sanitation, provide cleaning uh, facilities, and all of that. And we would love it if, in a joint manner, working together, industry, government, the medical fraternity, everybody working together can find telemedicine, approaches to treat people at home, making sure that the burden on the hospital infrastructure gets reduced or mitigated, and we keep our industry working, then we will have taken care of both lives and livelihoods. We strongly believe that this is the time for all of us to come together, join in prayer, work together.
Dr. Parekh, from a medical perspective, do you believe a partial lockdown, the kind that's being mooted at this time, will serve any purpose? Will this break the chain of transmission?
Yes, it will undoubtedly serve some purpose, but it's important that we understand what that purpose is. It allows hospitals a respite. It permits some time to build up our resources, and of course, breaks the transmission chain to some extent. But beyond that, it is not the panacea that it is made out to be. But if I may, Rahul, just a couple of observations based on what I've seen on your program so far. I wonder if you ever imagined in your career that you would be the lead in a news story which said that the good news is there were only 26 deaths today. It's important that we realize John Donne's words that every death diminishes us. And there are too many people who are dead and many, many people who are dying. I'm almost reminded of Vikram Seth's poignant poem, A Doctor's Journal Entry, which describes very evocatively the devastation of war on ordinary innocent people who have had nothing to do with it. And this time we're seeing the devastation on simple people. Your images are, bringing them alive into our lives, in a sense. And we're seeing that people, for no fault of theirs, for many things that could have easily been avoided had we learned something from history and from the current pandemic. People are losing lives, and so it's indeed a sad commentary on us that we almost have to be a bit celebratory that only 26 people have died.
Mr. Mahesh
In
Tapse, how do you ensure that you get the maximum bang for the buck? By which I mean that, with these lockdowns, how do you ensure that the restrictions that you're calling for actually enforce, that those who follow the rules of the lockdown are not penalized by those who don't and end up violating, and as a result of which we don't end up breaking the transmission of the virus, and yet everyone else who's following the rules then feels very shortchanged?
Self-regulatory kind of a enforcement that we all have to do. We all citizens have to do it on our own. The government has definitely framed the guideline of what has to be done, what cannot be done, what is allowed, what is not allowed. But the primarily, like some of the panelists said, that the primary responsibility lies with the citizens. And we have to ensure that we are staying back, we are not communicating with each other, we are maintaining physical distance, and we are not crowding, and we are not transmitting. So this is basically a responsibility which I feel that the citizens at large have to take. The government only can have some regulations. They can tell you what to do, what not to do. But primary responsibility, I think, after so many years of independence, now that we are independent country with a lot of educated people in the society. I'm sure, and everybody understands, like everybody understands the value of life. So even a commoner, even a person who's doing domestic work, he also understands that this is a communicable disease and he needs to stay back, he needs to safeguard his health and family and livelihood. So I think it's primarily a responsibility that we as citizens have to burden more, we have to share it more than the government. Government may enforce a lockdown for let's say 8 days, 10 days, 15 days, but what next? The flu is going to be there, it's going to stay with us. I don't know how long the flu is going to be there, but if we are going to be there along with the flu, then we have got to learn to live with the flu. And living with the flu means, self-regulating our own lives. That's it.
मिस्टर असलम शेख, पिछली दफ़ा सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट हुआ था जो स्लम्स में रह रहे थे या जिनके पास संसाधन नहीं थे, पैसा नहीं था अपना ख्याल रखने के लिए। इस दफ़ा आप कैसे ये सुनिश्चित करेंगे कि जिन लोगों के पास संसाधन नहीं है उन पर इतनी चोट ना आए, उनका ख्याल रखने के लिए क्या आपकी सरकार ने कोई इंतज़ाम किए?
नहीं, पिछले 2 महीने से आपने देखा हुआ कि महाराष्ट्र और मुंबई में बहुत सारे केसेस आ रहे हैं और उसी के तहत जो है महाराष्ट्र और मुंबई में हमने बहुत सारी मीटिंगें ली, बहुत सारे व्यापारियों के साथ भी बैठक की और हमारी गाइडलाइंस जो है दिन ब दिन स्ट्रिक्ट करते चले आए। आखिर में हमें जो है वो करीबन रात को जो है लॉकडाउन जैसी स्थिति करनी पड़ी। उसके बाद उसी तरीके से हमने वीकेंड के अंदर भी जो है वो गाइडलाइंस और SOPs लाए। उसके बावजूद केसेस जो है वो उतने डिप नहीं हुए जितने हमारे एक्सपेक्टेशन थी। तो अब हमने सब लोगों को एकमत करके जिस तरीके से पिछली बारी जो लॉकडाउन जो केंद्र की तरफ से हुआ था और एक बड़ा ही हवॉक हुआ था जहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोगों को और व्यापारियों को परेशानी उठानी पड़ी, वैसा ना करते हुए सारी चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए अभी जो हम SOP और गाइडलाइंस लाएंगे जिससे जो है वो कड़क गाइडलाइंस भी दिखेगी और बाकी के एसेंशियल चीज़ों में तकलीफ नहीं होगी।
आपके राज्य का जो टीकाकरण अभियान है उसकी फिलहाल यथास्थिति क्या है? कितनी आपके पास वैक्सीन सप्लाई में है? कितनी वैक्सीन आपके हिसाब से आ रही हैं? क्या आपके पास पर्याप्त वैक्सीन है या नहीं?
देखिए, वैक्सीन का जो मैनेजमेंट है ये केंद्र सरकार की तरफ से है और केंद्र सरकार डिसाइड करता है कि कितने एज के ऊपर वालों को देना चाहिए या किसे देना चाहिए, फ्रंट लाइनर को देना चाहिए या नहीं देना चाहिए। तो शुरुआती दौर पे हमारे पास एक्सेस वैक्सीनेशन दिया गया था जिसके हिसाब से हमने सिलेक्टेड सेंटर्स खोले और हमने उसको यूज़ करना शुरू किया, लोगों को देना शुरू किया। लेकिन हमें पता था कि कहीं ना कहीं महाविकास अघाड़ी जो महाराष्ट्र में है आगे चल के जो है उसके साथ मतभेद होगा। लेकिन वहाँ से फिर आवाज़ें उठने लगी, मीडिया से आवाज़ें उठने लगी कि महाराष्ट्र जो है वो वैक्सीनेशन देने में कहीं कम पड़ रहा है। उसके बाद हमने कई वैक्सीनेशन सेंटर मुंबई शहर में खोले और महाराष्ट्र के ज़िले में खोले और उसके बाद में वैक्सीनेशन देने में महाराष्ट्र जो है स्टेट वो 1 नंबर पे आ गया। और जब महाराष्ट्र में जब वैक्सीनेशन सेंटर ज़्यादा हो गए तो जब कमी होने लगी तब हमने सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से दुहाई लगाने लगी कि हमारे पास जो है वैक्सीनेशन सिर्फ 6 दिन के रह गए, 2 दिन के रह गए, 1 दिन के रह गए और आपने देखा होगा कि कई वैक्सीनेशन सेंटर आखिर में हमें उस टाइम के लिए बंद करना पड़ा और जो देने की भी संख्या हमारे सामने बहुत ही मात्रा में आखिर में कम है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर महाराष्ट्र को 7 लाख दिया गया जहां देश की 50% से ज़्यादा कोरोना से लोग पीड़ित है और वहीं पे अगर आप देखने जाएंगे हरियाणा जो महाराष्ट्र से कहीं छोटा है उसको 3 गुना दिया गया और जो उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर जहां पे कहा जाता है कि कोरोना से जो इफेक्टेड लोग हैं वो कम है तो उनको करीबन 50 लाख दिया गया। गुजरात के अंदर क्या हाल है आपको पता है कि गुजरात के कोर्ट ने क्या डायरेक्शंस दिए, वहाँ पे भी हमारे से 3 गुना दिया गया। तो कहीं ना कहीं ये जो मैनेजमेंट का सिस्टम केंद्र सरकार का था वो कहीं ना कहीं फेल हुआ है।
Okay, those are the charges that you're leveling. The government, of course, disputes these, but I'll leave the politics aside because, Dr. Parekh, can you give our viewers a sense of the morale amongst the doctors and the health workers you work with? Some people I was speaking to in Delhi said that now, because there have been instances of dozens of doctors getting infected at the same time, despite having taken the second dose, it's really spooking the medical fraternity out, and they themselves are concerned about their own safety as they deal with this pandemic. How are you dealing with that situation?
Rahul, we're coping with it. That's what we've been trained to do all of our lives. As medical students, we have done 48 hours non-stop emergency duties. We are prepared for that. But what really pains us is not what we are going through, what we are seeing in our patients, in our relatives, And beyond that, it really pains me personally to see the responsibility for this being dumped on innocent citizens. You know, that's like saying that the victims of Hiroshima are really to blame. They should have heeded the alarm. They should have known better. They should have headed for the basement. You know, why were they out on the streets when the atom bomb fell? Alan Rene made a beautiful film called Hiroshima Mon Amour, in which he showed that the tragedy in an individual's lives is as poignant as in that of a city or a nation. If we learned to appreciate that the lives of our citizens are way more important than petty politics, than in blaming people, that would lighten the burden on us. But to see the way people are suffering, their suffering is far, far more in comparison to ours.
Mahesh Tapse, at some
We're
senses,
okay.
even though he hasn't said so, that's a pot shot at some of what people like you are saying. We are putting the onus entirely on the citizens, whereas the fact is the government has a large part to play. Look at the kind of signaling that's happening, and not just your party, but all political parties, in the manner in which they're doing their rallies, people attending these rallies without wearing masks. You know, the messaging from the leadership of this country to its citizens hasn't been right. You're putting the entire onus of staying safe on the citizens without following proper COVID appropriate behavior yourselves.
See, let me tell you, Rahul ji, that onus on the citizen is very important. Government can only put regulations in place. But following those regulations, it is the duty of every citizen, and I'm sure that in times today that we are facing, we all have to follow that. Whereas in certain states there are elections, in certain states there are religious festivities happening. So all this is definitely going to put a pressure on the health system, health infrastructure in those particular states in time to come. But given the fact in Maharashtra today, hospital beds are getting full, oxygen is not available, remdesivir injections are not available. So this is the situation, and one can't blame one apolitical party. The whole government system is doing the best that it can, irrespective of which party comes to power. We have seen that, at least some kind of a medication is being administered. I've seen pictures where oxygen is administered in an auto rickshaw, on stretchers, but now there are no beds. This is the reality that we all have to face. And imagine 5 lakh odd people admitted in various 5 lakh active cases, and I don't know how many actually admitted. Definitely much more beyond that. So this is really taking a toll on the health infrastructure, and in time to come, we have to face these kind of problems more and more in the days to come.
Okay, what I'm going to do is take a very quick break right now.